It's your boy Big Papita 396 coming to y'all with a little bit of a deep message today. Little story time. This is a deadly industry that we work in. The very fact that you finished your job and you made it home safe, that is a beautiful thing. There's going to be some people who woke up, got in their truck, pre-tripped the truck, went out on their route, and didn't make it back. Let me tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a few stories. The first story is almost like an introductory film that they make you watch when you work for this certain company. I won't say the company's name. And it's probably not the one that you think about. We actually work with this person's brother. If you've been here longer than, let's just say, 10 years, you're familiar of the story that I'm about to, well, at least of the brother that worked here. So one day, there was a gentleman who was working residential, side loader, or I think cans. At that time, it was probably cans, where everybody would kind of put their cans out and you would just dump them in a bucket. All right, that's when I first started in the industry. That was like one of the big things, especially in the city, Altadena. At the time, they didn't have side loaders. Most of the work was you had to throw it by hand. But this didn't happen in the city of Altadena. This happened in a city within, that company in Los Angeles somewhere, right? And what happens is the guy gets up, goes to work as usual. He's had over many years. Matter of fact, his brother worked there along with him at that yard, at that company. Well, this one day he pre-trips. He does everything like how we do. He goes out on a route and he's working a route. Everything's good. And he gets to one stop and he sees a customer across the street. Customers flagging him down, waving him down. Hey. Okay. Let me see what she's talking about. Could you get my can? Could you get my can, please? Now, you're in a side loader. She's on the other side of the street. This guy gets out of his side loader or gets out of his truck. And yeah, I believe it was the front loader with the bucket, back when you would throw it with the bucket. And she says, can you get my cans, please? Can you get my cans? This is why we have the way that it ends. You pretty much already know what's about to happen. So he tries to help the lady out by going across the street and getting this can to service this can. But in doing so, somebody went around the truck speeding, and that's where this worker fatally was struck and he passed away. This is a real story, because before I got into the industry, this was a story that was told to me. And I was like, wow, and a lot of the drivers were kind of like, this was something that happened recently. Like, it wasn't that far away from when I joined. I'm guessing maybe, I don't know, anywhere between 5 to 10 years. So it was within their recent memory of this actually happening. And he passed away. And it was a fatality. He didn't make it home. So when they tell us about why we should not double side, this is what they talk about when we shouldn't double side, or basically going from one side of the street to grab something on the other side of the street. And this is why they're so strict about this thing, because there have been fatalities behind double siding. And that was one of them. I'll tell you about another story where a driver, for many years, I worked with this guy. For many years. He was a swing driver. He was really good. He knew all of the routes. The guy been there, at least by the time I was there, he's already was there 30 plus years. He was a senior citizen. And this gentleman, one day, just so happened, servicing cans, doing his job, and he was servicing a can, servicing a property, and he got back in his truck and he backed up. But when he backed up, he didn't look, and he struck a child, and the child fatally passed away. As you can imagine, this was extremely traumatic for this gentleman, because never in a million years would he imagine that something like this could happen to him. You always hear this stuff or see this stuff in some of these DVDs or some of these videos that the company tries to promote, but it's different when it's actually you. It's different when it's actually you. And this gentleman right here had to get time off of work. He had to get time off of work because he just couldn't deal with that guilt, that trauma of taking a life, knowing that he was responsible. There was something that he possibly could have done to not be in that situation. Ultimately, that guilt, that feeling of not being able to live with this situation ultimately led to mental health issues that led to him unaliving himself. Extremely sad, man. These are the type of things that can happen in the industry. You could either take somebody's life, or you could be in a situation where your life is taken. You hear about this situation with the lockout, tagout, right? Why is that situation so important to the company? Because there have been so many fatalities where people have went behind the Packer and get crushed to death. Yes, crushed to death. I could tell you about a story back when I was in the Valley, when I was working in the Valley, about there was this truck we just got. I was working with this company, and it was these weird, like this odd truck. Only this company had it, right? And the way that the Packer was set up was that it was a Packer that moved like this, like this, like this. I'm pretty sure some of you guys is old school. Y'all remember the side loader where the Packer moves like that. It's like a sweeping motion. And for the top, it's just like a lid, like a metal lid that you kind of hit the little thing, and it's like a gate that goes on top. But the Packer moves like this, like this, like this, like this. It was not good if you had recycle, because if you had some cardboard wedged in there, you had to use some water. You got to go get a water hose to try to, oh man. But that specific truck right there dangerous truck. Why is this a dangerous truck? Man, like I said, you got bushes or you got branches or something, it's not good. If you had trash, it's okay, right? But if you had anything like greenways, like branches or big, large boxes, like TV boxes, furniture boxes, it was a problem. So what would guys do? They climb on a ladder while the engine's running and the packer's going like this, and guys are reaching in there, climbing in there, trying to move a branch, because they're like, man, I don't want to go to the dump just for this one little branch, or I think I could squeeze just a little bit more. And one guy reached over, fell inside, got wedged in there. I'm pretty sure you can imagine what happened. This is a real life story. This is stuff that actually happened. Didn't happen in the valley, but it happened somewhere in the nation, somewhere. So always keep in mind, this is one of the deadliest jobs. I think it's the 4th deadliest job in the nation. Out of 100,000 people that work in this industry, 41 people die. That's one of the statistics that I saw. So it is serious, man. You know, this is one of these jobs where you can start the day and you might not come home. Right? I'm going to tell you about a situation that what happened with me. That's in another video. But let me tell you another way drivers are fatally passing away. What's more important, your job or your life? Sometimes when you're in that situation, it's difficult to figure out. Let me tell you about this story where this could happen to any one of us. So when I say this, I'm not saying this to be disparaging or to make it seem like the person is less intelligent for this. This type of thing happens all the time. But it's a reason why they have these rules in place, these rules that they want us to follow as far as securing the truck with a parking brake. Because let's just say if you're slightly on the incline, you get out the truck and the truck still rolls. Naturally, you want to go after the truck to stop the truck. But you know the truck, if you look at the gross vehicle weight, you're no match. I don't care. I'm a big boy. I'm no match for a truck, right? So you take a truck with that type of momentum, you think, man, I got to stop this truck because I'm trying to keep this job. Well, if you lose your life, what good is the job? I mean, the job ain't going to take care of your kids, right? So these type of things happen. I had just seen a video. Upstairs, MIE program. A gentleman was working with a scout. The scout had went somewhere, and the truck driver, he, for some reason, got out of the truck. But the truck was on the incline going like backwards. So his truck was rolling backwards. As his truck was rolling backwards, he ran. And when he ran, he barely got in the truck and he saved the truck. But if he didn't get it, from the camera view, you couldn't see when he got in. But he got in and he stopped the truck. But he was thinking in his head, I got to save my job. And this type of stuff happens with scouts as well. Like scouts might get out the truck. They see a can rolling. They jump out. They're trying to save the can because they don't want the can to hit the car. But in doing so, they could get thrown by the scout truck, or you could get crushed just like that by the truck. These are things that can happen at any given stop. But we don't think about this. This is just something for you guys to think about when you're doing this job. This is a very dangerous job. If you're able to get back home, hug your wife, hug your kids. If you're single, whatever it is that you got, that family that loves you, be thankful and try every day to keep this in your mind. Like, man, it's very possible. It's very possible. That concludes my video for tonight, and I'm out, man.